Alrighty, everybody, it is currently Monday, June 23rd, 2025, and I'm coming at you live. All right. Coming at you live, severely bug bitten. I mean, I swear to God, this is insane. It's insane how many bug bites I have. And I'm itchy as hell. I keep putting that fucking Benadryl spray on it, that's supposed to stop the itching, and it's not. And I swear to God, being bug bitten, right, and just being generally itchy, whether it's bug bites or poison ivy, although poison ivy is for the weak. I don't get poison ivy, it doesn't happen to me, but so therefore it's not real and it's not a real problem. Just being itchy in general, it's worse than leukemia, right? It's worse than leukemia for a couple of reasons. For one, you don't get any sympathy. All right, no one's fucking out here. I don't get a make a wish for being constantly itchy. And by the way, when I say I'm covered in bug bites, I mean it. And these things are starting to mutate a little bit. I don't know if I got bit by like a fucking Bruce Banner tick or whatever the fuck it was that did this. I think it was maybe a chigger or a group of chiggers, a pack of chiggers, as Mel Gibson would say, but I'm fucking bit up, and these things are like, I swear to God, bubbling up, bubbling the fuck up. These look like blisters. Like it looks worse than cancer. If you've ever seen that show Chernobyl, about the Chernobyl incident, and like all those firefighters like went in and touched like the most radioactive material in the world, that's what the fuck I look like right now. Just all over like my wrists and my forearms. I have bug bites on my belly right now. It might be fucking fleas, dude. I swear to God. If it's fleas, someone's getting killed. I don't know who it is. I might just get a gun and just go to the nearest person I see and kill him if I have fucking fleas. And I might have to commit suicide by cop. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but it's a major fucking problem. It itches so bad, and I'm not scratching them too much. When I first wake up in the morning and when like you're half awake and your mind's not really working and you don't really remember too much of what's going on, then I'll itch them. But for the most part, I'm not itching them. All right, so if I can do it, and this is a message of positivity, all right, we have to look at this in a positive light. This is my message of positivity. If I cannot scratch these fucking bug bites, literally, I'm like, when I wake up, I'm like gritting my teeth to not scratch these bug bites, right? Because the shit you put on it to make it not itch anymore, it like wears off by the morning. I'm waking up in the middle of the fucking night. It's like I have a kid, dude. Seriously, like these are, and it's the size of a kid. Like that's how big some of these bug bites are. Like one of them is on like my forearm. My forearm has doubled in size. Dude, I look like Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman or something like that. Like my forearm is fucking huge. But if I can do that, if I can resist the urge to scratch these bug bites, dude, if you're on meth or heroin, which by the way, if you're listening to this podcast, I know you're addicted to some kind of weird drug, dude. I know you're addicted to fucking gas station weed or fucking salvia or something like that. But if I can resist the urge to scratch these bug bites, then you can resist the urge to do meth. Or, hey, if you're fat, I feel like there's probably a few fats. If anyone's listening to this, they're probably fat. It's, hey, you can stop eating food because this is like I've been fat before in my life and I've lost the weight. I've dieted down, I've worked out. This is worse than that. This is significantly worse than being hungry for 6 months. You know what I mean? And that's what dieting is. Dieting is just you're kind of hungry for 6 months and it fucking sucks. This is worse, dude. I'm telling you it's worse because you cannot, the only way you can distract yourself from it is with pain. I might have to get into like some weird BDSM, fucking pig play, piss pet play, weird fetish shit in order to distract me from this, dude. I might, if you've ever seen those clips on Twitter, and I've seen these clips before, and I know that you have too, of like those guys who they put them in like a latex or like a rubber suit and they fucking like vacuum seal them shut, and it's like some weird like sexual fetish. They might need to do that to me, dude. I might need something to distract me from this. I might get pegged. I might get pegged. Just not even sexually, dude. I probably won't even come. I'll probably just come like a little bit, dude. Just like a half little, just like a half little cup. I'll come a little bit, but not even for the sexual pleasure of it, right? Like I won't even, pegging, I wouldn't even enjoy that. But just to distract me from this pain, dude. I might have to experience an anal prolapse just to distract me from this itching, because itching is just, and it's not like regular pain, dude. Anyone that's a real itcher like me, dude. I'm a real itcher. You know what I mean? If you're a real one, it's you know how fucking bad the resist or the fucking urge to fucking scratch is. You know how overwhelming it is. It inhabits every fiber of your being, dude. Like, it's unexplainable. It's absurd. And it's absurd how many fucking bug bites I have and like how severe they are. Like, I'm serious when I say they're blistering up, dude. I don't know what the fuck bit me, but we need to do something about this, dude. It might have been the Chinese. Fucking Trump, Donald Trump, if you can hear me, please save me, dude. Go investigate the Chinese because I think they released some sort of fucking super mosquito or something into the environment because these things literally, like, there's fluid filled bubbles like all over me. And if it's fleas, I might have to like talk to we might have to get this fucking bitch fumigated, dude, because this is, I mean, it's no joke. It's bad, dude. It's bad how many bug bites I have. And some of them, and here's why I don't think it's fleas, because every single one of these fucking bug bites is different. Like I have this one on my neck, and it's just like it turned into like a dry patch of skin on my neck. Like it's fucking like flaking off my neck. And it's probably not helping that I'm putting like thick layers of fucking petrochemicals or whatever's in the Benadryl spray, but it is not helping at all, you know, and it's just I'm seeing people defend America getting involved in Iran, and it's just, and I'm covered in bug bites, and I'm just pissed off about fucking everything, dude. Like, not even a morning cigarette could help fix this, dude. I just popped in my mornings in thinking it'd be like something that would calm me down a little bit, you know, satiate my addiction. No, it's not helping at all, dude. I'm still fucking pissed as hell at everybody. These people fucking defend Iran as WMDs. No, they don't. No one ever has WMDs. No one ever does, dude. I'm just pissed off, but hey, we got to look at the bright side. John Jones did retire, and then he did get arrested for, I don't know, fleeing the scene of like a crash that he was involved in that he was probably drunk during. So he retired, and it's being revealed what a piece of shit he is, and it's just I've never been like more happy for someone than I am for Daniel Cormier right now. If you don't know, Daniel Cormier and John Jones, they have like a long history, and I'm talking about UFC, MMA here if you don't know. These guys have like a long history of like hating each other. Like I think John Jones, if you don't know, Daniel Cormier, one of his children died in a car crash, and I think John Jones like brought it up at a press conference, and Daniel Cormier has hated him ever since then. And he's really hated him because John Jones was like, I think Daniel Cormier was like 38 and John Jones was like 29 when they were fighting each other in the ring. So they were not, you know, and John Jones was also like on steroids when they fought. And it's just, I'm so happy for Daniel Cormier. That guy must be fucking elated, dude. That guy must be like up early in the morning listening to like jazz or whatever the fuck that old ass dude listens to. You know, cooking eggs and bacon for his kids. He must be in the best fucking mood possible. And I feel like maybe I'm a little bit of a Jesus here. Look, hey, I don't believe in God, but I gotta say real quick, this is a joke, God. Just so you know, this is a joke. But I feel like I'm a little bit of a Jesus. You know what I mean? Taking on the sins of, or taking on like all the negative things that Daniel Cormier would be experiencing so that he can have this pure gratitude and just positive outlook on the world that he's feeling right now. You know, that's what my bug bites are. The bug bites are my crucifixion. They're so bad. Jesus was only on the cross for a day, but these bug bites are probably gonna last for fucking weeks, especially if there's fleas, dude. If there's fleas, yeah, I'm killing myself straight up. It's no suicide note. No, I'm not leaving nothing to anyone. I'm just killing myself and probably burning this house down too if there's fucking fleas here. And I'm washing like my sheets and like my pillowcases and shit right now. I'm not washing my blanket because it's like torn. And so if I watch it or if I wash it, like all the fucking cotton and shit will come out of it. Maybe that's where the fucking fleas are hiding because when I was taking my sheets off, I was like inspecting every little inch of it, dude. I must have looked schizophrenic or like on meth or fucking some shit because I was like literally like, you know, when little kids read and they like have to put their finger underneath the word that they're reading, you know, so that they can like follow along with the word. That's what I did over my entire fucking bed sheets, dude. I was like looking for like any sign of fleas. Because I mean, I don't know how it's happening. I seriously, like, I have bug bites on my belly right now. And yeah, I'll go shirtless when, like, I'm sleeping. That's, like, the only time I'm really shirtless like that. When I'm showering and when I'm sleeping. And it might not be fleas because my head's not itching at all, right? Like, I can't there's no like bug bites on my head or anything. My head is just, the normal piles of dandruff that are on there. So same with the pubes. The pubes, check those guys out. No fleas on there. It might be that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Frank like shaves every inch of hair off his body and like covers himself in hand sanitizer. I might seriously do that because these are like I'm looking at my wrist right now and it's covered in like flaking skin and like thick bubbly red bites. It's disgusting and it feels like I'm gonna die. But at least Daniel Cormier feels good. At least John Jones is, retiring and everyone is kind of realizing what a awful piece of shit he is and really not that good of a fighter. So if you're hearing this, John Jones, and I know that you are, if you're listening to this from your butt smuggled cell phone in your jail cell right now, just know when you get out, I'm fighting you, dude. And I'm fighting you with a gun. Fighting you with a 12 gauge shotgun, and then Daniel Cormier is gonna pay all my legal fees. But biospheres, that's the topic of today. And this is gonna be a little bit of a double feature because we're gonna be talking about the real life Biosphere 2 experiment as well as the movie Biosphere. And if you've never seen the movie Biosphere, it's I don't know. I really fucking liked it. I don't know how high it's rated on IMDb or whatever, although that doesn't really matter too much. Like it's it's got to be unless I'm seeing like a IMDb score of like 2 out of 10, then I'm like, all right, it's kind of up to interpretation in my opinion as to whether the movie's going to be good or not. Yeah, so it's got an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. And I'd go more with the Rotten Tomato score. It's not a perfect movie, but I think it's pretty good. And I don't think it's super popular, but if you have Hulu and I think maybe Disney Plus, if you have either of those, then you can watch it there and it's pretty good. So, but first we're going to talk about the Biosphere 2 experiment. You might have heard about this bad boy before. I think some of like those weird science YouTubers, like what's that guy's name? It's like Tom something, like that British guy that with that kind of weird like fucking rat face and those rat eyes that and the gray hair, you know? If you've never seen that guy, if you've seen that guy, you know how apt of a description that is. But I think he did a video about Biosphere 2. So it still exists today. And Biosphere 2 was originally meant to demonstrate the viability of closed ecosystems to support human life in outer space. So this was kind of like if Elon had the bag back when fucking Biosphere 2 was being made, he would have definitely got involved in this. Like this is right up his alley. He would have got involved in it. Everyone talks about like, oh, Elon Musk invented Neuralink. It's like that's like saying Steve Jobs invented the iPhone. Like, no, he didn't. A team of fucking Asians working 90 hours a week did. Elon Musk, he was like, he just he's like a 4-year-old. You know what I mean? He got like a couple crayons and a piece of construction paper, and he was like, "I'm gonna put a robot and a computer in this guy's head," and he gave it to like a team of Chinese dudes, and they were like, "Hey, yes sir, we will do it." You know. But Elon Musk, he definitely would have funded fucking Biosphere too. He would have been really into it. I'm surprised. I don't know. Like I said, I don't listen to too much Joe Rogan. I feel like he would really fuck with this. And so it's basically just trying to see if you could set up like a enclosed little ecosystem on Mars or the moon or in like a space station or whatever. Like that's what they're trying to figure out here. It's like how could we do that? Like if we were to colonize other planets or moons or whatever, instead of, having to resupply these people constantly with food and oxygen and whatever the fuck else, could we create like a completely self-sustaining ecosystem so that we don't have to, constantly send spaceships to Mars with, food and oxygen and whatever the fuck else these people need. I don't know what you need when you're in space. You don't need that much when you're in space. I don't know, weed. I feel like that would be I would just get bored like just doing research all day. I don't know. I'd need something. I'd need something. Maybe they're trying to figure out how to make a PS5 out of fucking, hemp leaves or whatever. Maybe that was the experiment there. Because I don't know how these people didn't get bored. I don't think they had like a TV or anything. But the biosphere slash ecosphere is like the worldwide sum of all the Earth's ecosystems, right? And so the Earth is like this obviously it's a completely self-sustaining ecosystem where all these parts, like the Amazon rainforest and the Sahara Desert, like those are two things that most people don't associate with each other, but they're like heavily connected somehow. Like I think it's like the dust from the Sahara blows over the Atlantic Ocean into the Amazon rainforest. And so yeah, these guys, they're up like they got a big task ahead of them. Like they're trying to figure out how to make basically a miniature Earth, like a miniature Earth ecosystem that's completely self-sustaining, right? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be like all sustained by like plants and fucking like deserts and all that shit, but it needs to be self-sustaining entirely. So they have like pipes and like heating and cooling systems and shit, but like those heating and cooling systems need to be sustained by the biosphere is basically what they're trying to do here. So it's a big task. They're basically trying to make Earth again, and that's a that's a tall glass of water there, dude. God did it in 7 days, but Biosphere 2, they didn't really get it too down. They got close. They got close, but we'll talk about that. So it was designed to explore the interactions of life systems within a single structure. So yeah, like I said, they're trying to make mini Earth, you know. They're like Earth rules hard as fuck. How can we make a smaller version of that, dude? Because I'm not trying to get on a plane so that I can go to the fucking Sahara Desert and, you know, the Amazon rainforest in one day and, you know, the Great Barrier Reef. Like I don't want to have to hop on a plane to do that. I want to be able to do it all in one, is basically what they're trying to do here. So it was also designed as a laboratory to study the ecological interactions of human and natural ecosystems. And so like a human ecosystem, that would be like a corn farm or like a soybean farm and, you know, houses and stoves and fucking like all that shit, right? Like a human ecosystem is like a suburb technically is like a human ecosystem. It's a failing human ecosystem. It's not sustainable in any way, shape, or form, but it is a human ecosystem. So they're trying to find out how they can make like a human ecosystem of like farms and like housing and stuff without fucking with nature too much. So hey, solid plan here, dude. It's they've got some bright ideas. You know, they're trying to figure out how to go to space. They don't want to, you know, have to eat MREs when they're in space all the time and shit. And they don't want to destroy the Earth either. So hey, they're trying to figure something out. But this it turns pretty funny. Honestly, it gets a little ridiculous when you consider like the base level of what they're trying to do here. So funding for this project was provided by billionaire philanthropist Ed Bass, and it was in the systems or the complex, you know, the biosphere, the actual thing was designed by systems ecologist John P. Allen. The two had met at Synergia Ranch, which is an eco village that was led by Allen, and it's just dude, Synergia Ranch. That's like the most Silicon Valley like .com bubble thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Like naming a fucking an eco village like this thing that's supposed to be ecological after like a fucking like a business term, like that's what synergy is. It's like a weird business term that people in the corporate world use and they named their eco village after that, which is just so funny. But they met there and it was led by Alan, and this dude Alan, I don't know, he wasn't like part of the experiments, but he seemed like a pretty decent dude. I think he a lot of the people involved in this did go on to like work for like space companies and shit. I don't know if Alan did that, but he was into the environment. So construction lasted from 18 or not, not 18, 1987 until 1991, and the complex was built about 50 minutes north of Tucson, Arizona. And sorry, this is how we all talk in Tucson, Arizona, but it's from what we do in the shadows. But anyway, they were fucking I don't know why they chose Arizona to build this thing is maybe it's because it's like the most dead environment in the world. Like it's I've talked about Arizona endlessly. I fucking hate Arizona so goddamn much. It's the worst place in the world, dude. Why the fuck Arizona is just like it's like if someone tried to build Dubai or whatever or like the Line City in Saudi Arabia, but they just didn't have any of like the fucking initiative to do it, right? Like that's what Arizona reminds me of. It reminds me of someone who's just like, we can do it. We can turn this fucking desert into an oasis, but they're just like give up halfway through. And they're just like, yeah, people will live here for 200 years and then eventually it'll collapse in on itself. Dude, that's what fucking Arizona is. And I hate it so goddamn much. But maybe that's why they built it here to be like, hey, this is a lifeless desert and we're going to build all these ecosystems here and make like this self-sustaining fucking thing and defy all the odds. So maybe that's why they built it in Arizona. But I mean, just truly a shithole. The biggest shithole in America. Everyone shits on Mississippi and West Virginia and stuff like that. No, Arizona sucks the worst. You know, people, they'll be like, you know, what's the GDP? The GDP of Arizona is higher. It's higher than Mississippi and West Virginia. Yeah, but it's a fucking desert. It's a lifeless desert that's 190 degrees all year round. It fucking sucks, dude. It's the worst. But Bass and Allen hope to build the second fully sufficient biosphere hence the name Biosphere 2. And then obviously Biosphere 1 is Earth. Earth is Biosphere 1. It's the perfect example of like interconnected nature and all that fucking dumbass hippie bullshit. These guys are like, and that's a thing that happened in Silicon Valley. It's like they're like hippies, but they want to destroy the earth at the same time. Like that's what all these Silicon Valley dudes are, right? Like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, when he got pancreatic cancer, or maybe it was pancreatic cancer, I don't remember. He got like some kind of cancer, and instead of getting chemotherapy, he just ate fruit all the time because he was like, nature knows what's up. Meanwhile, the cobalt mines that supply the fucking materials to build the iPhones are like burning Africa alive. Like nothing can live in these parts of Africa anymore because iPhones need to be built. Meanwhile, Steve Jobs is like, I'm only going to eat papayas for 24 months to cure my cancer. It's like, it's this weird fucking thing, dude. I hate it so much. I hate like the tech people so goddamn much. But anyway, the above ground structure of the Biosphere 2 was made of steel tubing, high performance glass, and steel frame. So if you look at this thing, parts of it look like just like a giant greenhouse, and then other parts of it are like a little bit covered and stuff, but it's mostly just like this huge giant greenhouse thing they got going on. It's pretty sick to look at. And like it's not like a regular greenhouse where some of like the ones in Europe and maybe some of the ones in America are pretty cool, but like that's not what you think of when you think of a greenhouse. You think of basically just like a hoop barn that's covered in like clear plastic material. This isn't that. Like some of the greenhouses they have going on, or whatever the fuck they call them, I don't know. They probably have like some weird Silicon Valley name. They're not greenhouses. They're fucking they're biohouses or whatever the fuck name they use for them. But they do look pretty sick. They look kind of like those Mexican pyramids, you know? Not like the Egyptian period pyramids where it goes straight up, but like there's steps to them almost. Like that's what these things look like, and they're pretty sick looking. And in order for it to be fully self-sustaining, a special airtight sealing method was invented, and it had a leak rate of 10% per year. So that is in comparison to the average house. And I don't know if this is true because I was like looking it up on Google and I couldn't find it. So I asked ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is fucking retarded, dude. Like I talked about like the Biosphere movie. I asked ChatGPT to like analyze some of the symbolism in it because I'm fucking retarded. I can't find any symbolism in there. And so I was like, I don't know, maybe some nerd on Reddit, figured it all out, and then ChatGPT is gonna like steal that and then tell it to me. And it got it completely wrong. Like it like switched the name of the characters. Like it kept getting the characters confused, and I was like, all right, fuck it. So maybe this isn't true, but the average house has a leak rate of about 800,000%. So this is like, I don't know, however many, I can't do the math in my fucking head, but it's like 8,000 times better. I don't fucking know. It's more than 8,000. It's like 80,000 times better at sealing in air than the average house is. And also, like the average house, like you're opening and closing the door all the time. They're not doing that here. So I don't know. Maybe the average house is pretty good at sealing in air. Hopefully not, because that sounds like a one-way fucking trip to Stinktown, dude. Just no fresh air getting in your house ever. Just pure fucking farts and BO all the time. And just fucking whatever gross food you cook that day. But this place, and it also had these large diaphragms. They also call them the lungs of the Biosphere 2 that could contract and expand and were built to compensate for variable pressure caused by heating and cooling. So this is in the desert, right? And the basic the basic way the desert works is it's super hot during the day and then at night it gets super fucking cold. And that has like a very big effect on these greenhouses, right? Because the air either expands when it's hot and it contracts when it's cold. So they had to create like these lungs basically that could like I don't know how the fuck they did it. This is like some weird ass smart people science shit, but it could like compensate for that because it's like during the day if the air would expand a whole ton like the glass could shatter and the fucking steel framing could like bend and stuff. Like this is how powerful it is, right? It's like a balloon basically. Like that's what would happen here. It's like putting way too much air in a balloon. But then they made something that could like contract and expand that wouldn't make the whole thing fucking blow up. So, good call by them because if they didn't do that it definitely would have gone a lot worse than it did. And then the complex also had a closed loop heating and cooling system that was powered by an on-site natural gas. power plant, I guess. And so I guess they were using propane or whatever. And I think it was like the natural gas was like fueled by bio waste. I think maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think they used like old plant matter and fucking whatever the like bacteria and shit to make the natural gas that powered like these heating and cooling systems. And like these are closed loop heating and cooling systems. Like I said, it's completely self-contained. Like nothing is coming in from the outside world to fuel this thing. And so ultimately Biosphere 2 had 7 biome areas. So first we got a 20,000 square foot rainforest and a 9,100 square foot ocean with a coral reef in it. And if you know anything about coral reefs, like especially in captivity, they're incredibly hard to maintain. So this is very, what's the fucking word? I had the word in my head and then I lost it. I'm so distracted by the bug bites, dude. The bug bites have completely taken over everything. It's all I think about, dude. I'm just a schizophrenic. Like these bug bites, I cannot stop thinking about them. I'm like paranoid. I'm like looking all over my body, being like, am I covered in like bed bugs? Is there ticks or something? But yeah, this is a big task they're taking on. And then in addition to that, there's a 4,800 square foot mangrove wetland, a 14,000 square foot savanna, a 15,000 square foot fog desert, and then 27,000 square feet of agricultural area slash human habitats. And the human habitats have labs, workshops, and living spaces. And so this is honestly, it's pretty bare bones, dude. There's not like a fucking Dave and Buster's or like a Chuck E. Cheese in there for them to get to. There's nothing fun going on there. Yeah, and so this place is fucking huge. It's self-contained. They're trying to make a completely self-sustaining, self-contained ecosystem so that, in 1,000 years when we go to Mars, you know what I mean? After, after the fucking radioactive wasteland dissipates and we go to Mars, we can create a self-sustaining ecosystem up there. And so now we got the first mission. And they're calling these missions. And to be fair, I would call these missions. These aren't just like simple experiments. Like these guys full on, they might as well have gone to space. Like this is some real ass shit going on here. And so the first mission lasted from September 26, 1991 to September 26, 1993. And that's why I think it's fair to call this thing a mission, dude. These people were in here for 2 years. We'll talk about that a little bit. I think one guy got injured and he came back in, and like that was a whole big deal. But like pretty much they were in here for 2 years. And the crew consisted of 8 people who were all like space slash like ecosystem nerds. One of the guys was also like a doctor too. And we'll get into that because this guy, I mean, they did not get the cream of the crop here. Like obviously all these people are well educated and they know what the fuck is going on, but there's some self-righteous nerds, and there's nothing worse a nerd can be than self-righteous. Like that's when people talk about like the fall or like the destruction of intellectualism in America, it's not because people don't you know, they don't want to be educated or whatever. It's because the people educating them are so goddamn self-righteous that it makes them not want to be educated. Like these people, anyone that's been to a college, especially like a liberal arts college, will tell you this. Like these people are so fucking self-righteous. Like it's basically like the Catholic Church. Like they believe that, the academic system can do no wrong and that science is the fucking like answer to everything and that every study that comes out that's like peer reviewed or whatever is 100% true. And these nerds, they were a part of that system. And 83% of the crew's diet came from the agricultural system, which grew fruits, legumes, and cereal grains. And cereal grains are like wheat, yeah, I think it's just wheat and rice are like the two cereal grains. And they had like different types of wheat and I think just one type of rice. They had a few types of legumes and a few types of fruits. The types of fruit they had, the only two that it mentioned were papayas and bananas, which are two. I know people really love bananas. But I just cannot get behind bananas. I don't know, maybe like they're super efficient to grow and that's why they choose to grow them there. But I don't like bananas and it's not even the shape, dude. It's the texture and also like there's like this weird fucking thing that maybe I'm allergic to bananas. I don't know, but I get like this weird like feeling in like my mouth and throat whenever I eat a banana. Pause. Like, I don't know why they chose to eat them. I'm not a big banana fan. And then they also had couple types of legumes. And I don't know if a peanut is a legume, but they grew those. And legumes are like beans and shit. And I think these are all like the most efficient foods that you can grow possible. And like I was saying about like this one doctor nerd that they had in there, this guy, he had like some plan. to have a diet that could like make you live forever, and that's what they ate. Like this, just one guy. Just they didn't fucking like have like a fucking, consolidation of all like these different thoughts about, what food is good and what food isn't. And they also had a few animals in there, but I don't imagine they were munching the animals too much because this was only 2 years. Like it takes a while for like a lamb to fully grow up or like a goat or a chicken, it takes a decent bit for it to grow up, especially if you're not, injecting fucking growth hormones into it like these fucking factory farmers do. So I don't think they were eating a whole ton of meat, but they like ate like this one dude, like what he thought was the perfect diet, right? And this is like fucking like having RFK plan out your diet and only eating that, right? Only eating fucking like raw kidney or whatever the fuck RFK eats. And so, despite the farm's like record-setting efficiency, the crew noted continual hunger throughout like the 2 year mission. Like they were hungry for 2 fucking years. They just must have been like slightly pissed all the time. And all these people, like they did like these pre-entrance like health exams on them, and they were like all in very good shape. And so they must have been like these weren't, you know what I mean? These weren't like big fat dudes going in there that like needed to lose weight. This wasn't like the Mr. Beast challenge where he killed that guy. These were like healthy fucking people. So they must have been hungry all the time. And the the farm was like super efficient. Like I think they say like the most efficient agrarian systems in the world are like in Indonesia and like Southeast Asia and stuff, probably because of the climate and also like the way they grow things is super efficient. And they're saying, and this might not be true. This is stretching the truth probably a little bit here, but they said it was 5 times more efficient than any like outside agrarian system, but also like that's what these people are doing all day. Like they're just trying to figure out how to make this shit as efficient as possible. Like they're not worried about money or like survival or anything. They're just trying to make this farm as efficient as possible, which is maybe why it was so efficient. And so the crew lost 16% of their body weight in the first year before stabilizing and regaining some weight in the second year. So yeah, they went in, lost a whole bunch of weight real quick because all they were eating was fucking papayas and rice. But then their bodies started to like stabilize out a little bit, which is like, but like I don't know if that's like a good sign, right? Like, because if you only eat 1,800 calories a day, like you'll lose weight and then you'll stop losing weight. And I think that's kind of what happened here. Like it said, some of them regained a little bit of weight, but I think. I think they just got used to like being hungry all the time and they were like skinny as shit, right? Like that's like a North Korean, like one of like those North Korean work camps, and they're like, yeah, we feed them like a bowl of corn every day, and that's all the food they get. But hey, look, they lose weight and then they stabilize, and it's like, yeah, but then they stabilize at like 120 pounds. So like I don't know. I don't know. But it's noted that the crew's bodies became more efficient at extracting nutrients from their low calorie, nutrient dense diet. So I guess their diet didn't have a ton of calories in it, but it had like, I don't know, all the vitamins and shit they needed, which is like, I don't know. I'd rather have enough calories to survive than fucking, enough vitamin D. You know? And so you can survive longer with like a lower level of vitamin D than you can without calories. Like I'd rather have the systems of my body be able to function, have enough energy to function than have enough vitamin D to function. You know what I mean? But these guys, the ecosystems of the complex struggled at first, but soon regained biodiversity due to work from the researchers. And this is like the jungle, a lot of the plant species and animal species that they had in the jungle like died off super quickly. So the crew made like this thing that sprayed water from the ocean that they had into the jungle because the ocean and the jungle are right next to each other, and that helped it out a whole bunch. But a problem that all the plant species faced throughout the whole thing was, yeah, plants, specifically trees, struggled to grow due to a lack of sunlight. And there was some kind of name for like some type of scientific name for this phenomena, but basically the trees they would grow like super like tall and like thin and stuff, and they wouldn't have any pigment in them. They basically became like albino or like some weird shit like that because they weren't getting enough sunlight, and like the leaves grew like super duper long, but they weren't like green. They were like, if you've ever like I've done a fair amount of yard work in my life, if you ever like torn up like a liner on a yard or whatever and you see the grass growing under there, that's basically what happened to these trees. Like when you tear up a liner, you see the grass growing under there, and it's all like super long and thin, and it's almost white. There's no greenness to it, and that's what happened to a lot of the trees during this experiment. And this is funny. So before the halfway point, two factions were formed based on ideological lines regarding research. And like I said, these people were all fucking dumbass science nerds. This was basically like if you took, the moderators of a subreddit and put them into like a self-contained ecosystem and didn't let them out for 2 years. I'm surprised no deaths happened. I'm surprised no one fucking, threw a guy into the ocean like mob style. And the behavior exhibited by the researchers is likened to that of, an Antarctic research center during like the winter months when they're like completely closed off, which I don't know, no duh. Like it's basically the exact same circumstance. Of course they're gonna act the same. I don't know. Maybe this wasn't like some great revelation, but I feel like they were acting like it was. Like, no, this isn't a great revelation. It's you put two people in basically the exact same circumstances and the exact same thing happened. So the split originated from a disagreement about which was more important, research or maintaining a closed environment. And so basically, it was one side was like, we need to start bringing in outside food and resources so that we can do our research better. And then the other side of the faction was like, well, if you do that, then it's going to compromise the integrity of the experiment because you're bringing in outside resources and stuff like that. And so it was a little bit of beef there. One side was like, hey, just give us like some MREs or whatever the fuck so we can so our brains can actually function and we can actually, research what's going on here. And then the other side was like, well, if you do that, then it like kind of compromises the research. So they both got some points. They both got some fair points. I don't know which side I would choose. I would probably get one bug bite and then I'd kill myself. And also a major problem that they had, I don't know if I wrote this at the end of it, but it was like a huge problem with like roaches and ants and shit like that. Like, it was just pure pestilence the whole time. Like it said like the populations of any pests that were able to sneak their way in, they're like fucking exploded, dude. So they were just covered in roaches and ants all the time and stuff, just fucking arguing with each other, hungry all the time. And they also had another problem that's more severe than all of these that we're going to talk about. And so the intensity of the factionalism is somewhat attributed due to the diet and also the low oxygen that the researchers were exposed to. And this is so at first they had a decent amount of oxygen. So they started with about 20.9% oxygen, which is like, I guess, the normal amount for like normal air that you breathe. But the oxygen dropped to 14.5% after 16 months of being there. And 14.5% oxygen is the equivalent of being like at the elevation level of 13,390 feet. So basically on top of like a pretty tall mountain in Colorado, like but they were exposed to that like all year long. Like these people basically became fucking Sherpas in there. Like they had no oxygen or very, very little oxygen. And so pests and massive carbon uptake were also problems that the crew faced. And so I guess like the concrete foundation of the biosphere too, like the whole complex they had going on, it absorbed carbon dioxide and then somehow deposited it into the fucking ecosystem that they had going on. So they were losing oxygen and also a fuck ton of carbon dioxide was coming in. I don't know how none of these people died. It's insane how none of these people died. And that's the end of the first mission. The first mission, yeah, there was a little bit of beef between the people, but even the people who like hated, even like, because some of the people were just like on one side or the other and they were just like chilling on that side. But like there were people within there, especially like the leaders, quote unquote, of the faction, like they hated each other. Like they would not talk to each other, but they said that everyone cooperated. He was like, yeah, I fucking hated that guy, but like at least he cooperated to keep the experiment going. So there wasn't too much, interfactional beef within this ecosystem that they had going on. But the second mission did. The second mission is a whole different can of worms. So after the first mission, extensive research and repairs were made to the system, right? Like I was talking about with the concrete thing, like that's something that they focused on. I think with like the trees and like all the animal species they had going on there, they revised that a little bit. I think the heating and cooling system too. They just made a whole bunch of like minor changes to it. And also the major change, which is like sealing off the concrete so that the people in there don't suffocate to death. Like that's the major change that they had going on there. And the second mission lasted only 10 months and had seven crew members. So one less crew member. And I think maybe seven crew members was maybe on purpose so that it couldn't, equally divide into two equally large factions, right? Because if it's four versus four, it's like shit comes to fuck. Hey, we can fight it out a little bit here, but four versus three, especially with like science nerds and stuff, like that group of four people is gonna dominate the other one. And so I think maybe that's why they went with seven, or any odd number they could have chosen, because it's harder to have like equally sized factions that are like basically locking horns with each other. And the second mission was marked by chaos both inside the biosphere and outside. And like I said, like this thing was funded by billionaires and shit. And billionaires just they can just never calm the fuck down. A billionaire could never just like fucking sit back, open up a bag of chips and watch a movie. They could never do that. They're insane. I guess that's why they became billionaires in the first place, but they're all fucking out of their minds. And several members of the crew either left or were replaced. And some members of the crew left and came back, and that was a major problem in the biosphere because when the people came back, like there was different accounts of what the people came back with, right? Like some people were like, yeah, they just came back with like plastic bags, or like one guy fucked up his ankle, and I think it was like, yeah, he just came back with medicine, whereas other people were like, no, dude, that guy came back with like fucking 15 McDonald's meals, dude. That guy came back with like a fucking laundry basket full of Happy Meals, dude. Like, so there's like very different accounts of what was happening in there at the time. So I guess the whole, having an odd number of members to prevent tribalism that failed a little bit. It just made them all hate each other as opposed to like joining, a side of two factions. And also during the second mission into the thing, Steve Bannon, who was the manager of Bannon and Co., and he's also like, I don't know, I guess he's like a right wing fucking like news guy now. But during this time, he was like a bank manager. He was hired to run the venture, and this caused former employees to vandalize the complex, which compromised its self-sufficient nature. And so they brought this guy in, and I guess he fired a few people. And he also has like no idea what's going on here, right? Like this guy manages a fucking like a financial institution, not a not a not like an ecosystem research thing, right? He has no idea what's going on here, and he fired a few people. And also, like I was saying, with people were allowed to go in and out of the biosphere a little bit, and that was like a major problem. And so these people they came up and they opened up the doors to the biosphere to like let air in and out and like fuck up the closed ecosystem. And they also like threw rocks and bricks and shit at the greenhouse panels, which let air in and out of the ecosystem. So it was they were just beefing, dude. And also at one point, I didn't write down a whole ton of this, but you just got to know it was pure fucking chaos. Like at one point, like a protest group showed up there, like in the middle of the desert in Arizona, showed up. I guess they were like fucking picketing for some reason. It was just an absolute shit show. And after the second mission, Bannon and Co. was sued and the plaintiffs won. And the funniest thing, so during the trial, Bannon testified that he told a researcher that he would shove her safety complaint down her throat. And he also called one of them like a dumb bimbo, like to her face, and he like testified that he did. It's just so funny. It's like this lady's like, "Hey, we're gonna suffocate to death due to, carbon dioxide uptake," and Bannon was like, "Suck my dick, dude. Eat my fucking balls. I don't give a fuck. Suffocate to death. Be a man about it." But they did win, but he only paid out $600,000. So that's not a whole, like, this guy's a billionaire. So this wasn't too much money. And despite all of this chaos, there was a whole ton of chaos. The crew achieved 100% self-sufficiency in regards to food. So the other one, like I said, they had 83% in the first one, but the second one they got 100%. And there was only two missions into it. Now they use it as like a science museum. Like I'm sure there's like still like a dedicated team of researchers that are trying to figure out what's going on there. But right now it's just kind of a science museum. Like you can go in there and you can see what the fuck is going on. It does look pretty sick. I'll try to find like a good YouTube video so you can see the inside of it. I do like that what they were doing there, dude. Like if you've ever been to the Omaha Zoo where they have that big desert dome, they just like expanded on that and it looks pretty sick, dude. They basically like lived in a zoo, which is like I don't know. Ever since I was a little kid, I was like, dude, it would fucking rule so hard to live in a zoo, dude. Sleeping with the lions and stuff. That sounds like so much fun, but they didn't have lions. They had like some gay ass animals, dude. They did not have sick animals. All right. And so now we're on to the movie review. And the movie's supposed to be, they call it a dark comedy. I don't think it's that dark. It's pretty lighthearted, right? Like no one even though it does happen, spoiler alert, I'm gonna spoil the movie here, but it does happen like during the apocalypse and shit. It's really, I guess it's like a dark environment, but like all of the humor in it for the most part is pretty lighthearted. There is like some dramatic moments and stuff. I've heard it be called a dramedy, and it also is a little bit of science fiction. It's very good. And that's the thing about making a movie nowadays. Literally all you have to do is have like an ounce of originality and you'll make a movie that I like, right? And I know that's not the goal. I know I know fucking people that make movies are like, "But is there a 5-5 incel or that's gonna like my movie? That's who I'm making this movie more." I know they're not making the movies for that, but like that's what makes me like a movie. And this is a very original movie. And there's only two characters in the entire movie, right? Like some movies will have like that are like similar to this. They'll have like a few like members of a crew, right? In like a isolated area like The Thing and stuff, but there's still other cast members, right? Like they'll show the outside world a little bit. This is literally just two people, and the two people are Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown. And Mark Duplass, he's been in a few comedy movies, and most people know Sterling K. Brown. And I also did I indulged in the ganja a little bit, and I watched the movie last night, and these were just I didn't get sorry, there was a TikTok. I didn't get too high, but I did watch the movie while I was high, and I did write down a few notes. And the first note I have is that this this should have been an A24 movie. I feel like if this was an A24 movie, it was made in 2022, which is like after A24 fell off a little bit, but I think this would have been like if this was made in like 2016, it would have been like the perfect A24 movie. Like it's very kind of weird like that. And it's got like that weird comedy and like I don't know. It's a little bit they do have like some dumb lib bullshit going on there a little bit, but like not too much, It's Hollywood. What do you expect? So I did think it would be very good as an edit as an A24 movie. And the second note I have is like I said, it's just these two characters named Ray and Billy. That's the name of the two characters. And I've noticed this with movies and especially with movies that are like dudes and stuff, where like the interactions, like the casual interactions between the two dudes are like they're just something about them. Like it's over the fucking top, right? It doesn't show like the casual interactions well, but and then I kind of realized it is a movie though. So like the whole point of a movie is that it's not real. Everything about it is like over the top, right? Like the stakes, the storyline, it's not super realistic, but like this is something I'd expect to be realistic within a movie, right? Is like the interactions between two people. Like even if the environment they're in isn't super realistic, I'd expect like, that aspect of it to be realistic. And I'm just going through my notes that I have about the movie right now. I'm not going over the plot line, but the music in the movie is fire. It's all like I don't know how to describe it. I wrote down that it's like a JV choir, right? Like it's not super good, like it's not like perfectly harmonized and stuff, but I think it matches the ambiance of the movie well. Like it's kind of like it's laid back, but it's mysterious. It's like the soundtrack to it, like the singing, the choir that they do is really it matches the movie super duper well. Like that's a major thing during movies and shit. Like how well does the music match what's going on? It helps create the ambiance, right? Like everyone's seen those YouTube videos of like playing circus music during The Exorcist or whatever, and like now it's a comedy movie. And the soundtrack is very, very it matches it super duper well. It's definitely not something that I just listen to in my day-to-day life, but it matches the movie very well. Like it just something about it like makes you fucking understand what's going on. And so now I'll get into the plot a little bit. So, two men are the only known survivors of a global apocalypse. One man, Billy, is the former president of the United States, and the other is Ray, who is a scientist slash advisor slash childhood friend who designed the biosphere. And this is like a common thing throughout the movie where, like, the science guy, Ray, he kind of like keeps blaming Billy for what's going on. And this is where a little bit of like the libtard shit gets going because I think Billy is like he's supposed to be like a Republican or like a right wing president, and he's the one that like caused this apocalypse that happened. And so I think it's a little bit of like they're just shitting on the right a little bit, which is fine. It's like getting mad. People will do that where they're like, oh, Hollywood is so fucking whoa, they're shit. It's like, what do you expect? It's like getting mad at like a dog for like barking at the vacuum. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna vacuum, you know the dog's gonna bark at it. I don't understand why people get so up in arms about that shit. There is like a certain point that it reaches where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fair to be mad at them about it because it's not just like a bunch of libs bitching about Donald Trump or whatever, like thinly veiled, thinly veiled bitching about Donald Trump, like that movie, fucking Cuties or whatever. Like I feel like the people that defended that were like all the libs and shit, and like that is something I'd get mad about. That is something that you could very easily get mad about, but that's because of morality, not because it's annoying. And also something I noticed, like Sterling K. Brown, the only things I've ever seen him in is that one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine in this movie, and he's always playing like a genius guy. And like, I don't know. He's like a hot dude, right? Like Sterling K. Brown, he's like an attractive guy. He might be the hottest black male actor. Like a lot of people are like Denzel or Idris Elba or whatever. Like I think it's Sterling K. Brown. I think Sterling K. Brown is the hottest black dude actor. I know people hype up Michael B. Jordan. He's not that hot, dude. Sterling K. Brown is a fucking hunk, dude. In this movie too, he's got like a beard and he's jacked as shit, dude. He's pretty fucking hot. And we'll get in to why that's important a little bit later, but he's always playing like some kind of a smart dude, which I don't know. He doesn't. Maybe it's because he talks well. I don't know why he's always playing smart dudes, but anyway, I've only ever seen him in two things. And so the men maintain a strict care of the biosphere and their bodies. And so like every day, like the first scene of the movie, like they're running around the biosphere, like getting in shape a little bit. They're always like working out together and shit. And they also are like they have like a little miniature ecosystem where they grow plants and they grow fish and shit, which is called aquaponics, and they take super good care of that. I don't know if that's like important to the symbolism of it at all, but I don't know. That's just something I noticed. Like they're taking super good care of it. But I guess it's like a thing of like when dudes go to prison, there's kind of nothing else to do other than to like create a routine and follow it to a T. So maybe that's what it's supposed to be. It but it's not off-putting. I don't know. It's just something that I noticed in the movie, and I guess it makes sense, right? It's like you're stuck in this thing. It's just two dudes in a biosphere. It's like what else is there to do besides, take care of everything, right? Especially if like one's the president and the other one's like a fucking super genius. And so one day, the last remaining female fish in their aquaponic system dies, leaving the two male fish and dooming the two men, Sterling K. Brown and this other dude to starve to death. And this is like they're pissed about this. At first, Sterling K. Brown tells the other dude, he's like, "Yeah, it was one of the male fish that died," so that he wouldn't like freak out and be like, "We're gonna die." But then the guy's like eating the fish, and he goes to eat the head of the fish, and he's like, "This is the chick fish, dude." And Sterling K. Brown's like, "Yeah, dude, I just didn't want to tell you," which is like Sterling K. Brown throughout this movie, and this is something that the two characters bring up. He's like constantly like they're like treating him like a child, which is just so because he is like a child. He is very, very fucking childish. Like they're beefing over like Mario Kart or some shit throughout the whole movie. He's a very childish man, but so is Sterling K. Brown. They're both very childish. And so Ray the scientist stays up one night and he's like looking at the fish, right? Because uh Billy, the other dude, the president dude, he's like looking at the fish and he's like, one of the fish is like fucked up, dude. I think this is how that one fish died. Like it's changing colors. It like looks all weird. It's like acting weird. And Sterling K. Brown is like, fuck, dude, I got to see what's going on with this fish. Because if both of these fish die super soon and they have a disease on them, like we're completely fucked. We won't even, like, we won't be able to survive like however many days they thought they were going to be able to survive. And so he's like looking at the fish and he's studying it, right? And he's like a smart ass science nerd. And he like notices that the fish, one of the male fish, the one that they think is sick, is actually turning into a female, which is like a thing that happens with fish sometimes. I don't know if it's all fish, but like certain fish have it happen to them. And he's like looking at it and he's like, dude, this fish is turning into a chick, dude. Let's fucking go. He's like hyped about it. He's like, we're gonna have food again. We're gonna be able to survive a little bit longer. And he tells the other dude, Billy, about this. And Billy's like, let's fucking go for a minute, dude. Just for like, at first, he's like, holy fuck, we're gonna be able to have food and stuff. Let's go. And then he's like, he kind of opens up his pants a little bit and he's like, fuck. And then he runs to the bathroom, right? And he's like, shit, what the fuck is going on? And he's like looking in the mirror and, they don't show it. I don't know. I don't think the budget for this movie was too high to like have special effects and stuff. But they couldn't turn his pee into a vajayjay, but that's what was supposed to be happening here. Like the same thing that's happening to the fish is also happening to Billy, where he's like turning into a chick. so that the species can continue to survive. And that's the idea of what's going on here. So his penis is turning into a vajayjay. And also the funny thing about this is he takes his pants off, right? So he can like look at his dick and be like, fuck, dude, my dick is disappearing. God damn it. It's like a magic trick or something. His dick is being absorbed into his body. And Sterling K. Brown like busts into the bathroom and is looking at his dick and he's like, don't fucking look at my fucking penis vagina dick. What are you doing, dude? And then he like faints. And when he faints, like his dick vagina goes into Sterling K. Brown's face. And so this isn't a movie where you're gonna get a whole ton of laughs, but there are very funny parts in it like that. And the other funny thing about it is, so the type of fish that they have, that, the dude fish that's turning into the chick fish, they don't normally do that. Like that species of fish doesn't normally do that. And Sterling K. Brown is like, a fish that no does normally do this is the clownfish. And usually when the female clownfish of like the group dies, then whatever the most feminine clownfish is turns into a chick clownfish, right? So a femboy clownfish turns into like a chick clownfish. And they like get into an argument over who's more masculine, and it's definitely Sterling K. Brown. It's Sterling K. Brown in this movie. He is black, but like I think he took steroids for this movie. He is fucking so jacked. It's insane. Like every t-shirt he wears, dude, he's wearing like a parka or something. He could be wearing a parka and you could tell he's jacked through it. He is fucking gigantic and it's insane to look at. And this other dude, what's his name? Mark Duplass, like the actor guy, he does look a little bit feminine, dude. Like if he wanted to trans, he could. He could be a little bit of a Caitlyn Jenner. Like he already does look a little bit feminine. And yeah, so that's why he turns into a chick. And so at the same time, Billy sees a green ray of light in the previous black sky. So, and that's another thing about this movie. It's a very good going to sleep movie. Like there's never like any like crazy loud sounds, and like the whole ambiance of the movie, like it's not super bright even in the biosphere when they're like growing plants and shit. Like it's a very dark, like the color palette, I guess, doesn't ever get too bright. And so just visually it's a good falling asleep movie. And there's not, like I said, a whole ton of loud noises. And so this is very, very good. If you're looking for a good falling asleep movie, it might be like a first time watch. You're maybe going to get a little bit too enthralled into what's going on here. But like a second time watch, I was like fighting the urge to sleep. I was like, dude, this is such a good going to sleep movie. But I'm too dedicated, all right? I'm too dedicated to the cast to fall asleep during Mark Duplass turning into a fucking chick. It's And throughout the movie, Ray mentions a bowling ball magic trick, which Billy denies the magical nature of. And so it's like every time something happens, right? Like when Ray is like, look at this fish, it's turning into a chick fish. Billy's like, no, it's not. Like that's not possible. That's not how things work. And then Ray goes bowling ball. And they explain this in the movie. It's like not something you have to wait till the end for. It's during like a childhood birthday party that they were both at. The magician asked Ray, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want for your birthday? And Ray was like, a bowling ball. And so he gets out this pad of paper and he draws a bowling ball on it. And when he tears away the piece of paper, right? And this is like a piece of paper on like an easel with like nothing behind it. It's like completely, there's no way imaginable how he could have got a bowling ball out of that. And he rips away the piece of paper and a bowling ball hits the floor. And Billy denies it. He's like, nope, not what happened. Magic isn't real. That's not how things work. Things can't just work because you want them to work. And Ray's like, no, dude, it fucking happened. I saw it with my own eyes. And so throughout the movie, they keep bringing up like this bowling ball thing. Like every time Billy is like, fuck, dude, like we're gonna die in here, Ray goes bowling ball. Because it's like, who knows? Some magic could fucking happen and we could fucking survive and things could, we really could get things going here. And so as the fish begin to breed, Billy suggests the duo do the same. And then this is like, it's so funny. They have like an argument about it and they go to bang each other. And fuck, before that happens though, they're like arguing about it because at first Billy's bringing it up and he's like, dude, we gotta bang each other. Like it's just we have to do it to continue the human race, we gotta Adam and Eve it out. And Ray's like, fuck no, dude, that's gay as hell. I'm not doing that, dude. He is a black guy. He is a black guy, so he's like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. And they're having an argument about it, and Ray goes, because I'm not a fag, you know? And he almost said fag. He almost says because he's not a fag. And I don't know. I guess that's like an important thing because he's like a liberal and the other guy's like a fucking, conservative. Or, I don't know, dude. It's like some dumb Hollywood political bullshit. And at one point, they're both working out at the same time. And Billy, the dude who's turning into a chick, is like, I don't want this to be happening to me. And Ray goes, well, you're not the first person to have genitals that they don't want. And it's like, all right, guys. Like, I get it. It's a Hollywood movie. You got to be lib, but I don't know, dude. I do understand, like, if you're ever gonna bring that up, if you're ever gonna bring up like the whole transgender ideology thing, this is like a decent example of when you could do it, right? Because it is literally a dude not having the genitals that he wants. And so I kind of understand why you could bring it up then, but it's still like some lib bullshit. And it's obviously like the right-wing president guy's a moron who ended the world. And so eventually they do bang, and the scene where they're like trying to figure out how they how they're gonna bang is so funny because they're trying to make it as like non-sexual as possible, right? Because he's like, I'm not gay, dude. I don't want to fuck with that shit. Although he does get hard, right? Because the dude's turning into a chick and he does get a pair of titties, and Ray, the scientist guy, like grabs his titties and he does get like a hard dick, and I don't know. But they're trying to make it like as non-sexual as possible, right? Because they've been boys for a while. Like they're like, dude, I'm not trying to bang you, dude. Like this is gay as hell. And so when they're trying to figure it out, he's like, all right, get in a non-sexual position. And fucking the dude who's turning into a chick like lays on the couch like he just got fucking shot or some shit. It's so fucking you have to watch. It's a very good movie. It's a very good movie that you have to watch. It's but anyway, one night and so they do bang, and they bang in the femboy, the trans dude. He does end up getting pregnant, and his belly's slowly growing. And when they do bang, dude, and this is something that I noted in this movie. So they go to bang, right? And they're like trying to make it as non-sexual as possible, but then they start making out, and it's like, dude, that would make it so much worse. I would not, if I had to bang my boy to keep the survival of the human race going, I would not be kissing him, dude, especially because the chick, dude, they both have like beards. It's like, dude, something about that's just like touching facial hair. Just something about that makes it so much gayer, dude. It's so much gayer. And like I said, the femboy chick, he's like growing tits, and I was wondering, like, would his tits be like perky or floppy? Right? Because we have to think about this. Both of them are pretty old. Like they're both dudes in like their 40s or 50s or something like that. So they're both like older guys, right? So it's like, would they be floppy tits because he's an old guy, or would they be perky tits because like they're new tits, right? It's confusing. I don't know whether they'd be perky or not. And like I said, he's the former president, and I was thinking about like which presidents would be most likely to become trans, and I'm not going to explain this list at all, but my list is Eisenhower, Obama, Kennedy, and Nixon. Those are my four that I think would be the most likely to become trans. I think two of them are a little more obvious than the other ones, but I think it's a pretty good list. And also, this is a funny part in the movie. So the guy who's turning into a chick, right? And he gets his period. And he doesn't tell him. Like he waits to tell the guy that he's getting his period. And it's like, dude, if I was a dude and I was getting my period for the first time, you would know because I would be screaming my fucking head off. There's fucking blood coming out. My dick is gone out. There's blood. I'd be like freaking the fuck out. I'd be so goddamn mad. And so finally, we're getting to the end of the movie. So one night, a massive storm occurs, which breaks several of the panels of the biosphere. And Ray like tips over the fish pond that they have so he can take the liner out and cover up the panel, right? And so he kills all the fish basically. So this is no good, dude. It's looking like everyone's gonna starve to death. There is that green light in the sky. And Billy also, he's reading some of the science book and he discovers that weather may be the result of a returning atmosphere, but Ray still doesn't believe it, right? At this point, Ray's like, yeah, you're pregnant, but you're gonna die. The baby's gonna die. I'm gonna die. This isn't fucking, we're all gonna die. He's freaking the fuck out. And Billy's like, no, dude, we gotta stay positive. Like, I turned into a chick, dude. I'm a dude who 3 weeks ago I had a dick and now I'm fucking pregnant. Like, we can figure this out. Something has to be going on. And so it kind of switches from Ray being the dude who's like, something's gonna happen and everything's gonna be okay to like Billy then becoming that guy, which I think is like one of the themes of the movie is like transformation, like, I don't know, being able to change your mind or your mindset or whatever the fuck. And so Billy's like, dude, the atmosphere's coming back. If it can storm, then that means there's an atmosphere. Like you look at all these planets that don't have atmospheres, no storms on those planets, all right? Moon doesn't have any fucking lightning storms. There's no tornadoes or hurricanes on the moon. So that means that the atmosphere is returning to Earth. We're gonna be okay. And Ray is like, He's completely pessimistic about it. And this is one of my favorite shots in the movie, the ending of the movie. So Ray's like completely pessimistic, and Billy's like, dude, I'm telling you it's gonna be okay. And he's like, close your eyes, I'm gonna go get something real quick. And he comes back with a pad of paper and an easel. And it kind of goes back and forth a little bit between look, the camera's looking at Ray at one part, and then it's looking at Billy. And Billy's like, what do you want? Do you want a bowling ball? And Ray's like, don't do it, dude. Do not fucking do this right now. And he's like, no peeking, don't look. And it's just he draws the bowling ball on the piece of paper, right? And then it kind of cuts back to Ray, and this is like the final shot of the movie, and it's like zooming in on his face, and he's like, close your eyes. You have to close your eyes. And he's like crying with his eyes closed. And Billy rips away the piece of paper, and we don't see it. We don't see it. Hey, there's no 100% proof that we see, but he rips away the piece of paper and punk, punk. I don't know if you can hear that, but onto the ground, the bowling ball falls and it rolls away. So that's the theme of the movie. Hey, just gotta believe. You just gotta believe, which is very counter to my belief system, which is nothing ever happens. So yeah, I don't know if you want to change your mind on whether things or not are gonna happen. That was completely unintelligible, but yeah, watch that movie. It's a very good movie. It's on Hulu if you have Hulu, or you can just pirate it for free. But yeah, it's a very good falling asleep movie. It's pretty funny. There's a little bit of like it was made in like 2021, so there's a little bit like the whole we gotta like represent trans people or whatever. But other than that, very good movie, very solid movie. The bro interactions are a little bit like corny and like, have you ever had a male friend before? But other than that, very, very good movie. That's just like very small nitpicks. The whole thing, like the ambiance of the movie, and that's really what I care about when I watch a movie, right? Like that Civil War movie that came out a little while ago, and that's why I like A24 movies a lot, is because they always like it's just something they always like nail the ambiance of what's going on. And I haven't seen any of the newer one. Like the newest one I've seen is the Civil War movie, but I really like that because just something about the ambiance of it all. It just like fits it really well. And that's true of this movie as well, even though it's not an A24 movie, although it should have been. It should have been, dude. And the funny thing about it that I was thinking about is it's like wide open for a sequel, right? Because obviously Biosphere, like they're kind of basing it on Biosphere 2, right? Which is like the whole famous experiment. So I don't know. There probably never will be a sequel, and it would undoubtedly make it worse if there was a sequel. But I don't know. It's the window's kind of wide open for a sequel just because of the name Biosphere 2. And that's all I've got for you guys in this episode. I hope you were able to, you know, glean at least a little bit of information from this episode. I know for the most part that they're pretty unintelligible, but hey, as long as I get the ambiance right, that's all I care about. So I hope you guys have a good day, a good week, a good year, good life. Hope you get the job you want. Hope you get the girl you want, or the man you want, or the trans, or the lady boy, whatever you're into. Not child, though. You better not be going after any children. But other than that, hope you get to fuck the person you want to fuck, unless you're related to them as well. That's also another, you can't do that. Or if they're retarded, that's, I don't wish that to happen. I would say that's not something that I enjoy. But as long as the person you want to fuck isn't retarded, a child, or super old, or someone you're related to, then I hope you get to fuck them. Hope that goes well, and hope you can get that job. Hope you don't get addicted to anything, and just have a good day, good week, good year, good life. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I don't know. I'll probably find something to do on Wednesday, but I'll see you guys then. Peace.